There comes a moment in every person's life when they look into the mirror and know, with absolute honesty, that something needs to change. It might not be a dramatic collapse, a crushing failure, or a loud confrontation with reality. Often, it is quieter, an inner whisper that says, "You could be more than this." For many, that voice is ignored, pushed away by the familiarity of old habits. But for those who choose to listen, that whisper becomes the first spark of transformation. This is a story of a journey, not a grand lifelong odyssey, not a 10-year reinvention, but a deliberate, structured, and focused 3-month transformation. A plan built not on inspiration alone, but on discipline, clarity, and consistent action. A plan inspired by the philosophy of Jim Rohn, who believed that success is not complicated. It is simply something you design. And so our journey begins with one simple truth. 90 days can change your life if you live them with intention. The power of a 90-day decision. Imagine waking up one morning and deciding with full conviction that the next 90 days of your life will not resemble the last 90. Imagine deciding that you will focus, truly focus, for the first time in years. That you will build habits that support your goals rather than sabotage them. That you will treat each day as a brick. Small, ordinary, easy to ignore on its own, but powerful when stacked with consistency. Research tells us that it takes an average of 66 days to build a new habit. 66 days of repetition for the mind to accept a new pattern as its default, for the behavior to transition from effort to instinct. If that is true, then a 90-day plan gives you not just the opportunity to build habits, but to strengthen them, not just to start a new lifestyle, but to stabilize it. This is why 90 days is the perfect container. Long enough to change the trajectory of your life, short enough to stay intensely committed. But transformation never begins with time. It begins with intention. You sit down with a notebook and write a single question at the top of the page. Who do I want to become in the next 90 days? Not what goals you want to achieve. Not what trophies you want to win. Not how much money you want to earn or how many kilograms you want to lose. Those are outcomes. Jim Rohn taught that success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming a certain kind of person. You begin there, with identity, with a version of yourself who already has the success you seek. What habits does that version of you perform daily? What does that person think, avoid, tolerate, prioritize? Clarity turns dreams into blueprints. Breaking dreams into daily steps. It is easy to dream big. It is much harder to break that dream into small, actionable, and unexciting daily steps. And yet this is a difference between people who succeed and people who burn out. Most people fail not because they lacked ambition, but because they try to leap instead of step. A 90-day plan demands structure. It demands that large goals be broken down into weekly targets, then daily habits. You might want to write a book in 3 months. Fine. Break it down. 1 page a day. Not glamorous, not overwhelming. Just consistent, or perhaps you want to improve your health. Break it down. A 20-minute walk daily. A glass of water each morning, reducing sugar by 1 small habit at a time. When goals are too large, the mind freezes. It becomes overwhelmed by the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But when goals are small, almost laughably small, the mind cooperates. It says, I can do that. And each time you complete that tiny action, you build trust with yourself. Jim Rohn said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Success is not built by the extraordinary. It is built by the ordinary done consistently. Consistency, the secret sauce of success of all the virtues that create success, discipline, courage, creativity, resilience. None is more powerful than consistency. You don't need to be brilliant every day. You only need to keep going. Consider a drop of water. On its own, it does nothing to a stone. But repeated consistently, the stone begins to shape itself to the water's persistence. That is the power of repetition. That in the first week of your 3-month plan, you will feel motivated. You will feel excited. You will feel unstoppable. But motivation evaporates quickly. It is emotional fuel, not structural fuel. By week 3, you'll begin to feel the resistance. Old habits pulling you back. New habits not yet strong. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. The 5-minute action repeated daily beats a 1-hour action done only on good days. Here lies a technique many people underestimate. The 5-minute rule. If the mind resists starting, promise it just 5 minutes. Start writing for 5 minutes. Start exercising for 5 minutes. Start cleaning for 5 minutes. Action, once begun, generates momentum. You cannot rely on discipline alone. You build systems that make discipline easier. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Accountability. The fuel that strengthens commitment left alone. Many people negotiate with their excuses. They convince themselves that skipping the habit just once doesn't matter. They whisper logical lies to justify short-term comfort over long-term success. But accountability is different. Accountability is a mirror. It forces you to see the real reflection of your discipline, not the story you tell yourself. This is why, in a 3-month plan, you select a partner, someone you trust, someone honest, someone who will not coddle your excuses. You tell them your goals. You share your weekly progress. You report your wins and losses. Studies show that having an accountability partner increases your success rate by more than 70%. Jim Rohn said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That includes the people who hold you accountable. When you know someone is watching your progress, you try harder, not out of fear, but out of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your commitment, respect for the journey. Transformation is not a solo act. It is a shared responsibility. Environment. The silent architect of behavior. People often underestimate the power of environment. They assume success comes from willpower alone. But even the strongest willpower collapses under the weight of a destructive environment. Your environment shapes your behavior more consistently than your intentions do. A cluttered room creates a cluttered mind. A noisy home destroys focus. Negative people drain energy. Unhealthy food within reach sabotages nutrition goals. Social media consumption without control hijacks your attention. And so, part of your 90-day plan is environmental engineering. You clean your workspace. You remove distractions. You organize your tools. You surround yourself with people who believe in your growth. You curate your information diet, books, podcasts, videos, conversations. Environment is not passive. It is intentional architecture. Just like a gardener prepares soil before planting seeds, you prepare your environment before planting new habits. Where you live, work, and think will either elevate you or erode you. And in a 90-day plan, every advantage matters. Daily rituals that shape mindset and energy rituals are anchors in a world full of noise. They stabilize your day, set your tone, and guard your mindset that a morning routine is not just a schedule. It is a declaration of intention. You wake up, hydrate, stretch, meditate, or journal. You remind yourself of your goals. You read something that feeds your mind, not something that drains it. You prepare yourself for the battles and opportunities of the day. Evening rituals, on the other hand, are for closure. You review your progress, celebrate your wins, note your lessons. You plan tomorrow so your morning mind can move straight into action. You release the stress you collected throughout the day. And woven through both morning and evening rituals is a powerful practice. Gratitude. Gratitude shifts your mind from what is missing to what is possible. It realigns you with abundance, not scarcity. It protects your emotional energy from negativity. A grateful mind focuses better, reacts calmer, and perseveres longer. Jim Rohn often spoke about the set of the sail. It's not the wind that determines your direction, but the way you set your sail. Rituals are how you set your sail daily. Focus. The art of training your mind focus is a superpower in the modern age. With constant digital noise, fragmented attention, and endless distractions, many people live in a state of fractured productivity. But your 90-day plan requires mastery of focus. You learn techniques such as the Pomodoro method, breaking time into concentrated sessions. You train your mind through meditation, even if only for 5 minutes a day. You reduce multitasking, replacing it with deep, undivided work. Over time, your mind becomes sharper. Tasks take less time. Your productivity rises. You stop scattering your energy across meaningless activities. You direct it toward actions that matter. Focus is not a gift. It is a skill, and like all skills, it grows with practice. The power of massive action. There comes a point in every transformation where planning must stop. Reflection must pause. Preparation must end. That point is the moment of massive action. Many people remain stuck in the planning phase because planning is safe. Planning feels productive. Planning feels intelligent. But planning without action is a trap. Massive action is the antidote to overthinking. Jim Rohn reminded us that you cannot talk your way into a better future. You must act your way into it. Massive action means doing more than you think you can. It means breaking through resistance, making bold moves, making uncomfortable decisions, showing up with intensity and courage. Massive action turns momentum into acceleration. It shifts the entire trajectory of your journey to in the final 30 days of plan. This becomes your fuel. The groundwork is already laid. The habits are forming. Your mindset is strong. Your environment is supportive. Now you push. Now you stretch. Now you leap. This is where breakthroughs happen. Becoming the person who achieves a goal by the time you reach day 90. Something profound has changed, not just in your results, but in your identity. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You no longer push yourself to act. You are a person of action. You no longer struggle with focus. You have a focused mind. What began as effort has become habit. What began as discipline has become character. What began as a plan has become a lifestyle. Your goals matter, yes. The achievements matter. The progress matters. But the true reward is who you have become. Jim Rohn said, if you want to have more, you must become more. And that is the essence of a 3-month transformation. You become a person capable of success. You become a person who trusts yourself. You become a person who follows through. You become the architect of your own destiny. Transformation is a choice you make daily. The beauty of a 90-day success plan is not that it is magical or rare. It is simple. It is practical. It is achievable. But most importantly, it is a choice you make every morning when you wake up. A choice you make every time resistance whispers in your ear. A choice you make every time you push past comfort and step into growth. Transformation is not found in a single moment. It is found in 90 days of disciplined, intentional, focused living. It is found in the commitment to become your highest self. The journey is yours. The blueprint is yours. The results are yours. Now the question becomes, are you ready to live the next 90 days like your life depends on it? Because if you do, your life will never be the same again.